Okay, welcome to the Quest for Details. We are rockhounding. We're at a little gravel bed, a couple hours before sunset. I've not rockhounded here. This is Dry Creek. So let me look around and see if we can't find some agates and goodness without bumping into the mountain lion. Look at that. Just slabs of pink. Goodness. Ugh. That's nice. That's a good one. Set that there as a possible. This is what we actually came here for, though. Beautiful little crevice agates. Look at that. This creek always provides. Always. Awesome. We were unskunked. Let's keep looking. Couple little mystery stones, maybe even 3. Here's another one of these. Don't know what that material is. It always has like an outside crust on it, and look at it, it's some bizarre stuff going on there. It's like a galaxy stone that has like all kinds of other things going on with it. And this nice blue. And then this looks like a piece of maybe nephrite stuff. A river jade, because we got those samples of jade. Sure looks like the stuff. Take that home and buff it out and see for sure. Nice piece of gneiss. I gathered up a little pile of other stones here that are all real intriguing. Let's see. I believe we are pushing in the jade here. And this is some of this real fibrous green material. Looks like the actinolite, but compressed down into a green translucent blob. So there's that piece. This is kind of the same type of thing, a very fibrous, if anybody knows exactly what to call this. Hard to catch the luster of this in this light. It's a really cool piece of jasper. Trying to keep the dogs from getting eaten by a mountain lion and work this little strip here. And finding more of these little green, all the different shades of this stuff. You can see that sure looks jadey. I think that we will buff it out. So we have different, at least bowenites, but some of this is like layered and fibery at the same time and condensed. So we're going to give it a buff. Yeah, you can almost still see the fibers. They're just crushed down, so. Definitely going to keep these in a pile with each other, and we will see what the true properties of them are as we buff them up and slice them and stuff like that. And quickly my pockets are getting full. For sure. Check this little back channel here. Now that we have more of a grip on what the tremolite and actinolite looks like, should be easier to spot. Just gonna be going slow and looking through all this greenstone. Mars, come on, buddy. Take anything that looks suspicious and fill my pockets, and then shine it up and see what's on the inside. I'll let you know. Got two more nice pieces of chalcedony and crevice agates. It's been a while since we were here doing this. And the thin wafers out of this creek is mostly what you get. Not bad though. Not bad. Well, this is the end of the beach. Unless you wanted to slip on shoes and cruise up to the next one, or boots or something. But me and Indigo are trying to stay dry. Mars is jumping in the water and rolling into cow poo. So he's a happy fella. I see a couple more pieces of really beautiful bowenite here. Getting hard to get this to focus on it. Mars, come here. Getting so dim light out here. Ones I haven't even showed you. Now we're dropping all kinds of stuff. So how about we go home, put these under a brighter light, and take a look at them, and get some food in our bellies. I think is going to be the main new focus here for us. So we'll see you back at the house in just a flash. Okay, my friends, we have returned to my house, and it is a day or so later, and I have been rejoicing the finds, and I want to show you what I've done. So these are a bunch of raw rocks that I did not do anything more to after we found them. I did put some mineral oil on this piece of chert because I just thought, wow, and it's so pure and so green and so nice that I wanted to highlight that. So the rest of them were basically ones that I needed to pick up and bring home so that I could look at and digest and think about and understand what I was seeing. And now that I do, or at least I think I do. We can set these kind of to the side, except for I want to show you some of the little interesting ones. This one has large crystal growth all through it. When I move it right, you can see them catch the light. So, and I believe that for these crystals to grow like this in this rock, it means that they grew slower as opposed to smaller crystals that grew fast in the cooling down process. Don't quote me on that, but last time that I read something about granitization, that's how I think I remember it. It's always good to recheck and recheck. Here are our 4 chalcedony slabs that we ended up finding. They're actually little crevice agate by technical definition, because you will find that there is water lines layering of growth, and then druzy that has knit together in the middle. And this one also. Very thin little fissures that filled with the chalcedony, and now the stone around them has worn away, and that's what's left. So that's why they get the name crevice agate, is because they filled in a crevice instead of a bubble. And you can actually see in that one a little more defined, the little layers that define this type of chalcedony as an agate, because it has those lines, because it has grown in layers like that. This one is interesting because its cavity, I believe, first filled with one type of crystal growth that kind of went in a tractor tread shape back and forth, and then the druzy grew over it, and all of the little minute crystal tips in there. Not quite microcrystal, because you can still see them with your naked eye. So there's teeny tiny crystal tips in there, all shiny and stayed clean. So that's why they're so shiny. So let's move on with this. So all of these, well, not all of these, some of these are still rough. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, I have sanded with the 2 finest grits of sandpaper that I own, and then put some mineral oil on them. And so they've been buffed to that degree. And each one of these has some details that I want to show you here, because I'm just pretty blown away by it all. So I want to bring this over into the light and show you. Let me show you this one cool thing about this though. This one naturally balances like that. After I had it polished up, I set it down and I gave it a little spin on accident, and it just does this. So I don't know, just got a natural pirouette design to it, but I thought that was a cool detail. This stone, if you could hold it in your hand, also has a very special feel. And I think I got the fever real bad. And yeah, let me show you these over in the light. Okay, so the light's kind of slant in evening and through the window. But already you can see the color in these pieces, and these are pretty darn translucent. Okay, that's its actual buff that I was able to bring it to, which I was pretty happy with so far. It could get more glossy. And that is the color on the front side of that. That's probably the best refraction of the light I'm gonna get. These areas are not black. I hope that's showing up there. Deep, deep green. And then it just has light green snaking all through it. This is basically like the end of the felting, all sticking straight out towards us. On the back of it is more of the clues. Remember that I've sanded this down. This is totally cleaned up, but the details are still the same as when I first found it. So here is actual, on the back of this, you can see the felting together. You know, if you can picture a wad of felt, of like felt cloth being wadded together and then crushed down and crushed down. So the front side of this is very smooth, ended up way more smoothed out. And this is like the back side where all the little flaps of the cloth were all overlapping and stuff. And in that there was a lot more clues. And you can actually see the actinolite down in here. And that is actually translucent strands. And they basically come up here to where they've been rounded by the river and then me. So on all the high points, they are gone. But in all the valleys on the back of this, you can see the woven felting of it. So you can see on the front side here, the more smoothed down, condensed look of that mix. There's fibers in there. And we'll put the flashlight on them too. Let me show you some of these smaller chunks. You can tell in the felting process that pieces get laid over each other. Now this one is way lighter and way more leafy, and it gives itself away just by the fine stranding in it. And like I say, I'll put some backlighting on that too, but its structure is way different than a chert. You'll never see a single conchordal fracture on this type of stuff because it doesn't break like that. Its little microcrystalline structures are strands and fibers. And so here's another little kind of flappy piece where you can see the little layers have been crushed out. Again, if you took like a piece of felted cloth and coated it in wax and crushed it down and made a little wad, there would be little areas like that. And then, so that piece there is kind of a bluish, sheeny example. Like suddenly, but you can see all the little fibers in it. It has a wiggle and a sheen. Almost that holographic metallic back and forth like this smaller one does. And when backlit, each of the little layers of this, let me get a shot of the layers. It's actually very, very thin layers. Even there's a shot there where you can see the sunlight coming through it. So it's translucent, it's felted, and it's the same colors as the other. The shape kind of threw me off a little bit, but then when I sanded it and backlit it and really looked at it, and here's a piece that has super fine microcrystal felting in it. I posted this one on Instagram if anybody saw that, and you can see the super fine fibers. So we can assert that the fiber size that composes this was much smaller than the other actinolite that we were just looking at. And I've sanded the surface of this. Give it a quick wipe on my leg so that there's no more oil. So this has just had 2 layers of sanding on it. And you can really see the 2 crystals, especially the dark actinolite in there. See, here is that sheening, that ribboning. And this, the end structure on them is just real specific. And then wait till I put the light behind this too. This is the level of buffing and shininess that I got this piece down to so far. And this light kind of sucks. Let me see if direct light works. You get more of an idea in this of the emeralds and the light olive greens all mixing together. Those lighter pine green patches in there are actually very, very translucent. And it's very hard. It's noticeably harder than the bowenite is, and noticeably greener. When you find bowenite and this one, they're very grayed and beat up by the river and stuff. But you put mineral oil on, bowenite will turn black on you. You still have to break it. And on a piece this thick, you really don't get penetration from a flashlight or a light source deep into just the raw rock, whereas I am getting that, and it turns visibly green. You know, basically when you lick it or wet it, it turns visibly green and shows depth, and you start to see the tremolite crystal in it show up, and the hardness, structure, and no conchoidal fractures, and you know you're getting there. So we'll look at all this with the flashlight on it, a lamp on it. This piece is just, it's like it was pure wad of actinolite with very little tremolite in it. It doesn't look like much, but this is probably our glassiest piece. I'm not even joking. Like, it's like a piece of blackish green glass. It is just, it's beautiful. And when I get the light on here, you can see the fibers still running through it in just the craziest way. Same thing with this last one. I hope that I'm not boring you. Super excited. This is a wad of super green, super translucent green, dark green, with the actinolite crystals still super visible and unchanged, let's say. And you can look down into it, and you can see them, and you can see them disappear down into the depth. And again, I think this is one that's best looked at. We can try some sunshine. The problem with sunshine is it can do its own washout. So what you're looking at is deep, deep green. Everything that looks black or dark is a deep, deep green. And then the white tremolite all through it. In its just most cliche, classic crystal form. That's what it looks like when you see it, even by itself. If I can quit wiggling there, you can look and you can see in detail them diving down in there. You're looking 1/8 of an inch down into this green, and you start to realize how translucent the green is. So let's get a flashlight, let's backlight these edges, and we'll go ahead and wrap up this video. But I want to spend some time shining some light down into this one. And I'm so torn, because if I slabbed the front of this, the slices of this would be insane with these crystals in here and the green. But on the other hand, if I continue to smooth the whole thing like I've started to do, see, that's more how you find it, but dry, so it looks nothing like itself. This one's literally covered in rust. And this is the face that I worked on for a few days and got down to where I was revealing what it is. Maybe I leave that hole and I put that on a pedestal. I don't know, you can tell me what you think in the comments too, but let's go look at these with flashlight before this video gets too insanely long. And I actually want to get out and do more hounding right now. Might be the only way to catch its movement down in here. Something weird though about all these lights, it's just not making it look as green as it looks. That's probably the best that I can do. It's able to stay in focus, and you can kind of get the clarity. Wish you could hold this in real life. You see just the finest fibers in there. Can't point right now, I'd have to do it with my nose. Right up here in the tip, there's literally the crystal fibers. Just a wad of pure green fibers. I don't know how else to describe that one. There's shimmers and sheens all through it. Okay, this one, let's look at, see if it's any different for your eyeballs in this light. You can see the deep greens of it. Let me try and show you some of these needles hidden way down in there. You see in this zone, you're looking like 1/4 of an inch down into that rock to see those green, to see the green overlay over the crystals there. Like I say, it's really one of those things where when you try to light it, the lighting almost starts messing with you. But why this is such a beautiful specimen to me here at the beginning of really getting a grip on what makes up this stone, the minerals that compose it and their habits and how they interact and how it's formed. You see the depth in here? Anything that you see that's green is because it's diving under the surface or it's under the surface. And that's how translucent it is. And there's my thumb. So those are some deep dives. That one's like 1/4 inch under there. It's one of my favorite zones. Emerald green, wherever you can look through it, just on its little lips. Like the darkest emerald green. So I have sat for hours and hours and hours and looked into this, and it affirms in your brain what you're looking for. It's just beautiful up here where it overlaps onto this like a layer of quartz at the top here. So, I don't know how long you want to look at that. I wish I could send it to each of you and you could look at it for yourselves. And yeah, let me know what you think. Do I continue to buff this down to where there's like no crevices and it's just like a smooth, not flat, but like rolly surface all over it, all the way around, and mount it on a piece of wood? Or do we slab this and we take a look at all these crystal spars where we can literally see through it and they're like snowflakes in the green? It is so hard to decide. Loving that. These, Thank you for joining me on this little adventure. I didn't know. I was just going to go look at the pretty rocks that were there. And then we started picking up pieces of stuff that made my brain go, hey buddy, I think you're stumbling into the good stuff here. I think your brain's, oftentimes you'll put all the pieces together and your brain will finally have enough accumulated knowledge. That's how it's existed for millions of years, picking through plants and rocks and animals and identifying how we can survive. And you never know when it's going to click onto the final details it needed to make its next big growth step. Totally stoked. Thank you all for joining me. Let's go out and do this more. Let's hit the rivers a whole bunch. The water is down and it is the time of the season for finding the first finds. Be sure to get out there and get some yourself, and I will see you next time on the Quest for Details. Quest on. We would like to invite you to come visit our online treasure shop. In the description below is a link that you can click on, which will take you to the store. There you can find all sorts of beautiful rock and mineral specimens, as well as handcrafted jewelry made from our finds on the Quest for Details, and all sorts of other custom creations. Whether you're looking for that special little something for yourself to add to your collection, or trying to find the perfect gift for someone else, we have an ever-changing selection of unique and one-of-a-kind items to browse through, and every purchase helps support the Quest for Details channel.